welcome to Futbol Europa podcast. This is your host Blaze, and today alongside me are Carlos and Sean once again. Welcome both of you.
Thank you for having us back.
Yep.
It's good to be back again.
So today we would like to start off the podcast by remembering Jana, who just lost her life to, who was Luis Enrique's daughter, and she was suffering from bone cancer, I guess. Yep.
Mhm.
And it's very sad that a 9-year-old has lost her life, and may her soul rest in peace. And there was another athlete you wanted.
Yeah, we just want to remember Zana for that. And I think just yesterday as well, Antoine Hubert in Formula 2 crashed and was in a terrible crash and lost his life.
Yeah.
We just want to remember those two.
Yeah, it's
Today on
terrible
this
when it
podcast.
happens. Yep. May their souls rest in peace. So, let's start off by your team's performance yesterday,
Mm-hmm.
which is Manchester United versus Southampton.
Mm-hmm.
And I read a statistic where, like, in last possible 56 points, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has only managed 16 points. So, are you worried about the season ahead, or how do you look forward to it?
It's really early to say. I think the team has shown that they can perform under immense pressure. I think the opening game showed a lot. The 4-0 win against Chelsea, who Frank Lampard is also doing a magnificent job right now. I think they're both the managers are. I think in the current, they're both currently in the same position in the way that they're both wanting to have a young, youth-filled squad. I mean, with Chelsea, they have Mason Mount, Tammy Abraham. He dropped. Gary Cahill got transferred to Crystal Palace, so it goes to show the level that and people that Lampard wants around him. I think same goes for same goes to say for Manchester United. It's just that it's not the same level of, how do I put it? It's not the same level of output as many of the fans out there would want. I think it goes to show with, apart from the first day loss, game week 2 Chelsea drew with Leicester. We drew Manchester United drew with Wolves. In game week 3 we lost to Crystal Palace. Man U lost to Crystal Palace 1-2. Chelsea won against Norwich City, and just this game week 4 Man U drew with Southampton away, and Chelsea drew with Sheffield United at home.
Yeah.
So I think both these teams have.
But you also have to take into consideration that Chelsea had a transfer ban and United didn't, and they still went for not reinforcing the squad the way many fans expected, and the way even problems. Like, I don't want to be a very Jose Mourinho fan right now, but I think that he has been proven right. But with, like, whatever he said has come true. There are problems. There were problems before, and they needed enforcements. They did get Harry Maguire, which is one of the better signings, but eventually they have. I don't think they have improved from last season. They have reduced the squad quality by letting go of Lukaku and Sanchez and Smalling also. So how do you look to the how do you see the team coping up with this? Because even Scholes said yesterday that it might take Manchester United 2 to 3 seasons to get back to their former glory.
That is, I think that statement does have its merits, but I do feel that it's not fair to say that Chelsea did manage to strengthen their squad with amazing player in Pulisic, and both Mason Mount and Abraham were brought in as youth players. So I don't see how it's any different from the way Man United, Solskjaer has gone about it, with like wanting to put faith into the youth, with putting a Rashford up front, bringing James in from Swansea. And it goes to show in the midfield as well. Yeah, we got rid. It's a shame, really, but they're Herreras all around. And it goes to show at least Solskjaer has a vision that the board is semi-willing to support right now, where he doesn't want to have players that don't want to play.
I look at a different with a different perspective, that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has a vision, but the board isn't willing to adopt to that philosophy and the plan. So he is adapting to the willingness of the board. So he's compromising his own what would you call ideology or vision or whatever you want to call it.
I don't see it that way. The board, I think the board is definitely supporting him. The fans are definitely behind him. He wants a younger team. I mean, the oldest player on the field yesterday was young, and not by much. De Gea has been the oldest player in the other 3 games.
Yeah.
He's 28, 29. So I think, Mata was playing yesterday as well. But it goes to show his midfield, where he, instead of playing players like Matic and Matic and I wanted to say Mata, but Mata played.
Yeah.
Instead of playing Matic, he still plays McTominay. He still plays Pereira, and it will get there. I mean, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, people criticized Ferguson for saying you can't win anything with kids.
No, that's obviously a good argument, because even Mbappe was a kid, and even Joao Felix was a kid, and there are so many better players right now who were kids when they were signed, and even Ronaldo was only a teenager when he joined United. So that's a good argument, and
it'll get there. I think with I think defensively wise, they're pretty sound. They still made mistakes. I think I think in terms of team cohesiveness, they need to come together to understand each other.
Yeah.
Because it goes to show that there's actually a miscommunication between Maguire and Lindelof. You can tell when you watch the game. I mean, back to
those things take time because
those things. A centre back pairing takes time to forge, and I think it really showed.
Maybe by a month or two, you would see a better performance.
That Jordan Ayew goal last week really showed the communication breakdown between Maguire and Lindelof, where Lindelof went to hit for the ball. Clearly couldn't win it, but he still went to hit. Maguire wasn't ready.
Yeah.
And that's how Ayew came through and just broke through and then scored the goal.
Yep.
So real shame really. The late winner goal was a real shame. But overall, I think the team's on the up and up. Honestly, if with Rashford, he should be trying to improve his finishing. They should really just be putting more.
Also, now here's a
into
tricky
the box.
question. Zlatan Ibrahimovic said that if United wants him back, he will come back. So, would you have him for a season or two to avoid embarrassment in the league?
Again, yes, because in terms of at the back, I don't think they need as much experience or level-headedness. I think Maguire is proven. Wan-Bissaka has proven himself in the EPL with Crystal Palace. However, up at the front with James, Rashford, and Martial, I think they need someone of Zlatan's experience to push forward the way. I don't think.
Plus, Zlatan can give you like 15 goals more.
In
the season.
Just having the presence of Zlatan would make any defenders scared. I mean, how old is Zlatan right now? 33, 34?
No, he's older than that. He's 36.
36. And I think experienced defenders will still. I think Shanani will not be happy defending against him.
Yeah.
Experienced
But he
defender
still
like
has
Shanani.
those athletics where he can just. He can just stretch his leg over the heads of so many.
He doesn't need to do much running.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. He
can be a box and box. He can be a
just
box
needs to be in the
player.
box.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all the talent he's always showcased, and it's always been proven.
Yeah.
But I think it's that the team is looking good. I mean, results are one thing, but overall, I think the way it's going right now, I would like to see more wins. Let's be honest, but if you're gonna play with a youthful squad,
it will take time.
I think it's fair to say that it's not fair to ask too much out of it. But statistically wise, I mean, Buying Daniel James for 60 million from Swansea, he has scored as many goals as Sanchez now. So
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. But yeah, let's see how it works out in the end.
a funny
And-
bit of funny bit of news I just pulled up while looking for some stats. A Romanian fourth league team forfeits their match today because one of their players was having a wedding, so the entire team went for the wedding. No, I was just looking up for some stats on the
Which
on
club?
the game.
Which club is it?
Which Romanian team? I don't know. One of the comments for the thing, bros before goals.
Yeah.
Let me look for the team's name. It's in Romanian. I can't read it.
Yeah, no, it's all right.
Anyway, yeah.
So we should move on now.
That's enough about me. That's
Yep.
enough about Manchester United. But
Yeah.
I just want to say that patience with Solskjaer and patience with the team right now because it's youthful. As a Chelsea admirer, I think patience with that team as well. I think Lampard and Solskjaer are both doing similar ideas, and I'm actually looking forward to those two teams. I won't say it's the easiest fixture. It's not the most difficult fixture either, but I think that the matches that both teams have played so far and the results that they have drawn up.
Yeah.
Shame really, Crystal Palace at home, but both results that they have taken so far highlight the amount of talent and amount of work that they have done and they're going to put forward to. That being said, I would still put Salah in my fantasy team, which I'm currently doing. So,
Yeah. Sean only has 2 United players in his fantasy team, just to mention. Anyways.
3, but
3.
hey.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
Anyway, moving
My
on
fault.
to
Yeah.
La Liga.
So
Was it?
I have like 4 questions from Prerak Kalla. Thank you once again for sending in the questions, Prerak. So first of all, he asked, Villarreal Real Madrid game. Villarreal always gives us problems, that too in away game. What will be Zidane's approach as we need 3 points to stay in the title race? Villarreal had a bad start to season. 1 draw, 1 loss. A thrilling game versus Granada with a score of 4-4. They will try their best. So let us first mention that these questions were sent before the Osasuna versus Barcelona game, so which ended in a draw. So currently, if Real Madrid win against Villarreal, so the difference will be of 3 points. So
If they win, I think it'll be 5 points now, right? Because
why so? Because earlier we dropped points, yeah.
Right, so we also drop points, correct?
Yeah.
Hmm.
So the thing is that Zidane just said that by the transfer deadline we might have 2 signings. And who are the 2 players which will be signed? So do you have any names? Because Neymar has already said that he will stay at PSG.
Neymar didn't sign, right?
Neymar has
He didn't sign.
yeah, it's
Okay.
official that he will stay at PSG now.
Okay.
It's almost official because I think Leonardo said that they have rejected Barcelona's
Yeah.
latest offer and Barcelona is not having any other offer.
Yeah.
He also said that.
And Barcelona was probably the only club who was serious enough.
He also
Madrid,
said,
Madrid didn't really make that much of an effort for that.
He also said that there is no club that can offer in cash the amount that they want, so they're open to players.
Yeah,
And right now, Real Madrid don't have any players that they can offer
yeah.
to make the deal happen.
And Barcelona have like weird contracts with their current players, so they can't really terminate them. Or,
it's not a weird
twist them.
contracting, like it's all
Yeah,
like,
with Samaro and stuff, they had like weird contracts, so that's also an issue.
what's the weirdness in the contract?
I don't remember exactly because it was a very bold contract
Like you
where they
can't-
were very confident that okay, we give you high wages and we give you this long of a contract extension, and if we terminate the contract, we will pay you this much. So now
That's
the players
normal.
don't want to leave, so
That's normal. If you normally terminate a
Yeah.
contract, whatever is due for the remaining amount of the contract needs to be paid back.
Yep.
That's normally negotiated. Here, like most very rarely do you see player swap deals happening because both set of players need
Yeah.
to first agree to move, and before that, both clubs need to agree on what the valuation for the player is.
yeah, we will talk about that later on, but let's come back to the question. So how do you see Real Madrid approaching the Villarreal game? So
I see it in the same way. They'll still go from fullback to winger, and winger to cross.
no, let's start with the formation first.
I still think they'll play the 4-3-3. Yes, I don't see too much change to it.
We haven't played 4-3-3 in this season at all.
No, in the sense that we played 4-3-3 right in the first 2 games.
No, it was 4-1-4-1 and some other strange formation which I forgot.
Nah,
4-4
it looked on paper to me 4-3. I mean, not on paper. On field.
on field, yeah.
It looked to me 4-3-3. They had Hazard. Sorry, not Hazard. Bale and
Benzema.
Bale, Benzema, and in the first game it was Vinicius. And I think the last game it was Isco. I can't remember.
Yeah.
So basically, he kind of plays that formation where we still depend on our. Basically, the ball goes from the fullback to the wing, and then it's normally a lot of crossing. Our vertical play is not.
Modric will be missing this game, right?
Modric already missed the game last time.
Yeah, so he will be
should
available this
playing
one.
this game.
Yep,
So that's
sure.
the only change that I can see over here. No, last time I remember he played James, Bale, and Benzema up top with.
And James came off by 60th minute or so that he had some injury problem or something
Yep.
like that.
And Isco was the one I think who replaced Modric in the starting lineup.
Yeah.
So I think we'll play very similar. I also think we'll continue not playing centrally, and we'll try to play over the wings. It's difficult to really predict how the result would be. It's not a normal season.
Yeah, but I think it will be a high scoring game.
I'm not really sure whether it'll be a high scoring game also, because it depends on. I still feel that we are very dependent on.
See, when two of the defenses are quite weak, you can always predict that there will be a high scoring game, because Real Madrid can falter to only two vertical passes. So it won't be much of a surprise if Real Madrid get a narrow victory or a draw, like say 2-1 or 2-2 or something like that, and 4 goals in a game. That's pretty much a high scoring game, I guess.
But my point is that it depends on how you. Like, even if both side defenses are bad, it depends on how you use it. Valladolid don't have a great defense, but we spent half the game crossing. So, I mean, that's my point. That's the thing. On the other hand, our
You cross.
I mean, in the sense there's a lot of aerial crosses. I mean,
At least there's a cross.
yeah. So I don't think so that necessarily because our their defense is bad, we'll necessarily score, or our defense is bad, they will score, because I'm not sure whether they have enough quality to score. So it's not that I wouldn't say that easy. But because I expect very little central play, I think we are very dependent on the ability of our, like, the special talent or ability of our players to make something out of nothing.
Yeah, probably. Maybe Modric, and if Isco plays later on in the game, maybe we can have some play from
Isn't
central.
Isco injured?
No,
He had some femoral bicep injury.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, he's injured, I believe.
Real Madrid have like 6 or 7 players injured. You really forget who all is.
There are too many
who all
people
are
who have muscle
injured.
injuries. I think he's injured if I remember correctly. And I don't think so. The squad has come out yet, right? The 18-man squad for the match.
Is it a home game?
It's an away game.
Oh yeah, it's an away game. It should come though.
I don't remember seeing it yet.
Maybe it will come by 6 or 7 hours before the game, because that's when they will travel.
Probably.
Yeah. So second question is, who deserved the best Europa League player award? I think Hazard deserved it more. What? Hazard already won it. I assume that he wanted to say Giroud deserved it more, but he typed it Hazard.
I
So-
think. I really can't answer the question because I've only seen the final. So I
Yeah.
don't really know the entire season who played well.
I can. But
Yeah.
I followed. But I can definitely say Giroud deserved it more. Hazard, like we also turned up during the finals, but I think credit where credit is due. I think Giroud definitely played more of a part for that Europa League competition. In comparison, it's like saying, for example, Neymar was injured the entire PSG campaign, but and played for the French Cup final or whatever, right? And then saying he was the best of the competition. That's something to that extent, right? And I don't think it's fair. I don't think it's fair to Giroud's effort, despite all that. But another quick stat: Firmino is the first Brazilian player to hit 50 goals in the EPL. So that's first Brazilian. I'm surprised to know he's the first Brazilian. Yeah, I know, but because that's with the EL and the Super Cup and everything. But I think Giroud, Hazard doesn't really deserve it. Like, credit to it, he's a good player, but
Yeah, he only
overall
played like
competition-
33% of the matches, so it's
like saying-
understandable. Yeah.
It's like saying during Jose Mourinho's EFL campaign, if he had played De Gea for the final match and then he got best goalkeeper of the match,
Season,
like,
yeah.
and then Romero didn't play a part, same thing.
Yeah. Anyways, I don't think we have a lot to talk about this question, so let's move on. Champions League group of death, Group F. Who do you think will make out for knockout? So I think Barcelona and Dortmund will be able to make it out, and Inter will go to Europa. What's your opinion?
I think Inter will make it. I think Dortmund
Yeah.
might go to Europa. I think.
If we have to make a bold prediction and be very biased, we can
It's
say
possible.
Dortmund.
I don't think so.
We can say Dortmund and Inter will qualify.
No, I think Barca will
No,
qualify.
I'm just kidding right now. So yeah, in my opinion, it's Barcelona and Inter Milan.
Especially with their current transfer, I think Inter Milan definitely
I don't know why
have
people
a fighting
try-
chance
yeah.
of being even first in that group.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I don't know why people write off Inter Milan because
It's because no one watches the Serie A now.
Also, Conte has a bad record in UCL. He's a very bad record in UCL.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah.
yeah,
But,
probably.
just a quick glance at all the other groups, though. I think Group A,
I feel for
yeah.
Slavia though in Group F, man.
That was funny.
That reaction was honest reaction.
Look, it could have been any group. It could have been any team, but it just sucked that it was
Yeah.
them. I think just quick glancing across all the groups. So PSG and Real Madrid for Group A. That seems like a definite. Group B, Bayern and Tottenham. That seems like a definite. Group C.
No, Dortmund isn't in. Dortmund
Bayern
is in
and
group.
Tottenham.
Tottenham. All right, sorry.
yeah.
My bad.
Group C, I think goes without saying. It's Shakhtar and Man City. I think I would say, but definitely Man City will top the group. Group D, Juventus and Atletico. Group E actually looks a bit iffy. I think Liverpool will win, but Salzburg might give Napoli a run for their money.
I think Napoli will qualify.
Okay. Group F, I think Barcelona and Inter.
Interesting fact about Napoli, and Carlos will like it. Napoli has been the first team ever who won with 4 goals and then lost with 4 goals within a couple of days in the opening of Serie A.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's a fact. I just read it this morning.
You're talking about defenders. I mean, 4-3 with Koulibaly scoring the own goal.
Oh,
Yeah.
He is very unlucky.
Yeah, that was unlucky, but
But hey, 3 of the Real Madrid players scored.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Actually,
And against Vallejo and Carlo Ancelotti, who were also Real Madrid.
So
rated,
Danilo, Cristiano Ronaldo, and Sami Khedira, they're all ex-Real Madrid players. It was weird seeing them play in that shirt. I swear, it was so funny seeing them play in that shirt, and Carlo Ancelotti is coaching the other team.
Yeah.
Just like very.
And
it was like
Callejon
a
also playing for the
different,
Napoli. Yeah.
Just like a parallel universe I was living in. Suddenly.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I've gotten around the mental image of Ronaldo being in Real Madrid, but I still haven't gotten around the mental image of Sami Khedira being in Juventus. I don't know why. Like when the transfer happened, it just didn't click. But anyway,
Yeah, it happens.
if you want to go through for Champions League, Group
That
G,
happens with me with Giroud. I always think of him in Arsenal. I
Arsenal,
never
I
really
know,
click
I know.
it with
Same-
Chelsea.
same
I don't
with
know why.
Giroud,
Yeah.
Group. If you want to go through for the Champions League, Group G is the place to be. Zenit, Benfica, Lyon, and Leipzig.
I think Leipzig and Lyon will qualify.
Yep.
Yeah, Leipzig and Lyon. Actually, no. I have
Which
a feeling.
Benfica can also
Benfica.
qualify. Yeah.
Benfica and Lyon. I mean, and Chelsea, Ajax, and Valencia.
Ajax and Valencia.
Yeah, I think Chelsea should. If Chelsea drops down to the Europa League, it'll be interesting. You'll have then all three clubs, all 3 English clubs in the Europa League, or one of them only can qualify via EPL, and out of the remaining 2 teams, only one will be able to qualify via UEL. So it'll be interesting.
I think, in all fairness, in terms of close competition, I think Group G and Group H would provide a more entertaining group stage compared to, say, the Group of Death being Group F. So yeah, but with Chelsea, Ajax, and Valencia being on.
Yeah, but I think I have mentioned it before also. I sometimes think that Inter Milan can challenge for the league title in Serie A.
Yeah, they can
Yeah.
challenge for the league title for sure.
Yeah, I don't
I
know why
would
people
expect-
write them off.
would
Because
expect
they
both
will
of them.
probably finish 2nd or 3rd at the least.
Oh no, I'm not saying that Group F doesn't have the quality. I'm just saying that in terms of closeness of quality, Group G and Group H would be more fun
Yeah.
to watch.
Yeah.
Definitely first, the 2nd and 3rd place is what's gonna be really interesting.
By the
watching
way-
Group F though,
I wanted to ask you, how do you look Sanchez and Lukaku going to Inter Milan?
I'm pretty
And Smalling going to Roma on loan?
I'm pretty glad actually that we managed to get back the money for Lukaku, given that he didn't want to be around. When Lukaku got upset at Gary Neville or Paul Scholes questioning the fact that professionalism and
He was never unprofessional. I've never seen him unprofessional.
He
I
went-
understand he might not be a great player. His first touch is bad, but I've never seen
No.
him unprofessional.
Here's the thing. When it comes to Lukaku, it was pretty funny because the comeback that I thought in my head for Gary Neville was, I'm not questioning your. The comeback that came into my head was that could have been said is, I'm not questioning
Yeah,
your.
I'm denying its
profession-
existence.
I'm denying existence at all.
Game of Thrones, Tyrion
Yeah.
Lannister.
But outside of that, look, the thing is, Lukaku, same thing when he was leaving Chelsea for Everton, and he did the same thing going from Everton to Man United, and he did the same thing again going from Man United to Inter Milan. He always kicked up the fuss at the end. He always became very, very unprofessional. The things he said, the things he's done during that period of trying to get out of the club, that's what makes it unprofessional, and that's what I think a lot of fans, myself included, really dislike about
Yeah.
You look at players, you look at ex-players like say for Real Madrid, Ronaldo. He doesn't speak ill of Real Madrid.
He
You don't.
didn't speak ill of the club per se, but he did disrespect many of the players indirectly.
Well, same but different. It's club and players.
Yeah.
I think it's interpersonal and interclub.
Yeah.
Those two things differ.
But now
But look at
things
San-
seem to be calmed down because Perez was at Ronaldo's award ceremony
Mm.
when he was awarded the Mark Ali and the award. So yeah, things now seem to have been better.
See, it's
Of-
it. If
It's like
if Ronaldo
Alex
didn't-
Ferguson versus David Beckham. Earlier it
no,
it was a
yes,
sort
you-
relation, but eventually it sorted out. So yeah.
But the thing is, like you see relationships like say for example, Ronaldo doesn't like a certain player in Real Madrid. Let's say Cruz. I just off the top of my head, right? But he was still okay with the club. Whereas what Lukaku has done, he just cut off and burned all bridges with the club itself. No one's gonna buy him back. No one's gonna enjoy seeing him around, right? Look at Sanchez going out on loan. Sanchez has been entirely professional. Yes, he hasn't lived up to the hype. He hasn't lived up to the talent that we bought him for. Thank goodness the fact that we traded him for Mkhitaryan, and Mkhitaryan hasn't lived up to the hype in Arsenal either. I'm just happy with that. However, look, it would have been a very terrible business deal when Mkhitaryan started tearing up the EPL after being traded. All right.
You realize that Alexis Sanchez is the 7th highest paid player by Manchester United this season, even though he's playing for Inter Milan.
I know. After being on loan, I know that those stats. I know. However, that aside, like
The better part is that they are still paying less than they would have if he stayed. So yeah, it's a better deal for United eventually.
Look, at least they're paying.
They're paying 300,000 as opposed to
Yeah, and
350,000 as opposed to 500,000. That's it.
Look, it's
Yeah, and
the wage.
the rest of it
the
is paid by
wage
the
problem is a whole different discussion. But I think it stemmed from the fact that they just started paying extravagant amounts for star players, and
Yeah.
then it just went a little bit out of control. And Sanchez's case is the biggest highlight of it, where we traded and we said, okay, we're gonna pay you this amount, but you don't live up to the hype. Look at Sanchez's Instagram post and the way he left. He's just like, good luck to the boys, all those things. He's happy to be at Inter Milan, but at the same time, he's on loan, and most likely we're gonna sell him next season. However, he doesn't go about the fact being unprofessional, being a dick about it. Same thing is
Mostly, I think the
Two different
unprofessional.
scenarios, right? See, the reason why Alexis Sanchez didn't do anything was because he was already playing for Copa America in Chile, and he was on extended leave. Lukaku's case is different. Also, between Lukaku and Solskjaer, it was already confirmed from the beginning of last season that Solskjaer does not want to play, the Jose Mourinho kind of football where you have a big bulky 9. He wanted pace. He was very clear that he wanted Rashford or Martial as the number 9. He doesn't see Lukaku. They both were clear and they both were okay with each other not playing. So it is up to the club to basically sort out a contract or sell him. And the problem over here was obviously there were two clubs involved, and in the second club with Juventus there was a a player swap involved, which makes it all the more difficult. So I didn't see any point in him going and training with Manchester United when there's no point. There's no way that he would be playing with them. He would not be in the mentally right state, and there's no point in Manchester United having him at that point of time when they're clearly negotiating a sale for him. Like it's reached a stage that they would sell him whatever happens. So I don't think he was unprofessional by not coming for training at that point of time. The only thing he said was when people started questioning his so-called overweight. Even that I don't buy it. The guy is really like he okay. I understand he's 100 kilos, but it's not like he has 80
He's
kilos
more
of
than
fat.
100 kilos. 100 kilos is what is expected of him to be.
But whatever I'm saying, it's not like he's
Yeah.
100 out of like. It's not like he's like he has 50 kilo of fat on him. I just feel like okay, I understand the other part. Like as a player, his first touch is bad. He's not maybe in
No, the first touch was never questioned. We all know he sucks at his first touch. But the thing, but we know he's a good player. He's in the box. You cross it to him, he heads it into the box.
But
Heads it
he
into
never did that.
yeah.
Like,
Okay.
when he was there,
We never crossed. Okay. We still don't cross. Okay. Whatever. No. The thing is, you don't go about such a behavior where you start disparaging the club you used to play for. You don't see ex players such as what's his name? I suddenly can't remember his name. Depay. Yeah. Depay. He appreciated his time at the club. Yeah, it sucked as well.
Even
E-
Lukaku was asked in a whole interview. He said he appreciates the time. He had no problem with Manchester United. He also said that he only had one bad season, which was last season. The other seasons all the other managers, Jose Mourinho loved him because he did the dirty work. I felt as a striker, he does a lot of dirty work which he doesn't get appreciated for, and he played in a team that did not play to his strengths under when Jose was playing.
No, he was appreciated as a player, like when he was there. But the time at the end of it, I'm saying at the end of it, he was entirely unprofessional. Like the way he acted, the way he went about things.
Yep, I get
If
it.
you're not allowed time off from work, you should be at
So
work.
how do you look at Pogba's case then? Was he professional
In terms of
in terms of professionalism?
no, Pogba neither. Like
Yeah.
Pogba, like it. Even with current day climate. Huh?
But Pogba was there.
But Pogba never.
That speculation was happening. He was there. He was there for training. He was everything. You're saying that he
Exactly.
So you're saying Lukaku was unprofessional because he was not there for training. I'm saying my point is he was unprofessional. He was not unprofessional. They both was already a decision that he's not going to be there. It was not just him. It was both the coach, the senior management, everybody. Pogba, at least in his case, he did not want to be there. He wanted to go. The senior management wanted him to stay. The coach wanted him to stay. And at that point in time, it was well decided that they will not let him go. So he did not skip training. He did not do anything. He was there. There was a lot of speculation that on the first day of training, Pogba will not be there.
And that's him being no. He was really professional. That's where Pogba is. But Pogba, in terms of him being unprofessional, is saying just creating speculations. That's the part of
Letting his manager and his brother create all the talk. Yep, I get it.
that's what I didn't. That's the unprofessional part. Different aspects, both unprofessional.
So maybe we can say that Pogba was a bit clever person. He didn't want the dirt on himself, but he wanted to create the speculation. So he was clever enough not to say it himself, but allow his manager and his brother to speak all that stuff.
Yep.
So we should move on now. Name a scenario. The fourth question from Prerak. Name a scenario. He didn't play with PSG in a league game last night. It will be clear by the time you record if Neymar didn't want to move. Why did he create such a fuss about going to Barca or Real? First of all, I would say that it wasn't
more money.
No, it wasn't really Neymar who started all that stuff. It was PSG president who said that
he
he
wanted
is.
to move too, and he always wanted to move.
Yeah.
He was open about it.
Yeah, but also that I think Neymar is still open to move, but it's that the other clubs couldn't reach an agreement with PSG, so it's not really Neymar's fault on that part that he didn't move out. If he had the power to move out himself, he would have done so. And is there anything which you guys want to add to that?
No, I said I felt that Neymar was unlucky in the sense that there was already a Griezmann deal with Barcelona. Had that deal not been there, I think they would have bought Neymar. That's A. The second thing is PSG is happy to sell him, but they're not happy to sell him for less than 200 million, which nobody has. So the problem, like I said, always
If anybody buys him for 200 million, they'll just get slapped with the FFP straight away. After that,
not necessarily depend.
most likely.
No, not necessarily. It depends on, because FFP looks at 3 years worth of your transactions. It looks into a lot of other factors. It depends on how much extra income that you can gain out of other sources also. So I wouldn't say that FFP is necessarily a big issue. It depends
FFP
on
only comes into play when they think that you are going to get bankrupt by the spending you are making. So
chances are they probably would. Like, yeah.
Barcelona might get because they pay like too many wages to the players. Like
80% of their operational cost is wages.
yeah, and compared to Real Madrid, it's only 55%
50%.
of wages. So you can see the contrast over there. And Real Madrid just made like 50
155 million
billion
profit.
of profit. Yep.
So yeah, so basically over here, I think that because nobody has the money, there had to be players involved in this, and I've always said this: player swaps are very difficult to do. You hear it every year. Most years you hear deals about player swap, but it never happens. The reason why it doesn't happen is because it is difficult to get. First of all, it's difficult for two clubs to put a valuation on a player. Like one, for example, I think Barca was trying to value Rakitic at 40 million or 60 million or something like that. But these people did not want Rakitic and they don't agree to the valuation also in the first place. So those kind of stuff comes into play.
yeah,
And
another
then the
example
player
is
wants
of
to move.
James Rodriguez with Napoli and Real Madrid, and
Yeah. So the other thing is the player also should be willing to move. I felt in this entire, of all the Barcelona players who are likely to move to PSG, the player that would probably be okay and probably PSG would be okay was Coutinho.
yeah.
But the problem, but I don't
Coutinho went to
know
Bar-
why. But I don't know why they did not let
Yeah.
that happen. I don't know why also they sent Coutinho on a loan. So it did not make too much sense to me at that point of time. So yeah, it's not. I think Neymar made a fuss because he wanted to go, and he wanted people to start the negotiation. That's why he made the fuss. He got the negotiation part. Unfortunately,
Yeah, so we can say that he wasn't really willing to stay at PSG at all.
and I don't think PSG
Yeah,
want to. Just they don't want to be
exactly.
ripped off either.
Yep. PSG want to make money eventually, and they want to have a better deal out of it. So also, I think we should add Navas.
Yeah,
Who is leaving,
Navas.
yeah.
So I think from Real Madrid, the only players that we were possibly able to include was Navas and I think James Rodriguez, but I'm not even sure whether James wanted to move there because because both these players' valuation is quite low.
Yeah.
We would not have enough money for it. So anyhow, it seems that Navas is going on a 15 million deal plus Areola coming on loan for
1 year.
For 1 year. I think it's a good deal for us because personally I don't like the idea of having two very good players
In a goalkeeper position.
in the
Yeah,
goalkeeper position.
we talked about that in the last podcast. So
Yeah,
okay.
and the other thing is, I felt I genuinely feel at some point in time we'll go for Mbappe.
Yeah, so that's what I was about to add, because I think Paris is building relationship with PSG and they don't want to get into any because if we forced somehow for Neymar to come, we could have got him for, say, any kind of deal if Real Madrid really wanted him. But we are more invested into Mbappe's plan, who is... I also read a report that Perez asked Mbappe's agent or father or whoever it is that don't renew with PSG, and when the contract is coming to an end, we will get into negotiations and we will sign him.
I think that's going to happen with, especially with the
Yeah.
price point for. I see this happening more and more often where players will not sign before players you would sign contract when there are
Yeah.
2 years left. Now players will not easily sign that contract.
Yeah, they will wait for the
they will
last
wait,
day. Yeah.
They'll wait towards the end because they feel that the current club will be if they're in a bad situation, they'll be desperate enough to offer you a new contract even on the last day.
Yeah.
And they'll hold all the power in which, at least they'll hold some power in which they can get an early transfer if required.
Yeah, and I think that earlier we used to read that transfers happened on a 5-year deal and 6-year deal and even 9-year deal, which recently happened on an extension. But now I guess it will be reduced to 3 years and stuff like of the coaches. Most probably.
I don't think so. You'll see a lot of more than 5-year deals, and I think a lot of players might look at signing even shorter deals.
Yeah, and maybe a clause to add on the deal further, to extend a deal further of 2 seasons and stuff like that.
Yep.
So yeah, if PSG gets Navas and we get a better relationship with them, so eventually it's easier for Real Madrid to sign Mbappe, and also recording the profit of 155 million in this season, excluding sales. That's pretty much what you want to have in your record for the FFP later on. So there was another question by Shazeb Baloch. he says Vallejo hasn't played yet for Wolves. So was it a good move by Real to loan him to Wolves? I mean, he could have been loaned to any La Liga club.
Vallejo has played
In
for
you-
Wolves in the all three of the European qualification. It's difficult to answer that question because it depends on whether there was any other clubs that was interested in Vallejo in the first place. I mean, especially from the point of view where if any other La Liga clubs were interested or not. I'm not really aware of that. And the second thing is it's only been 3 EPL games, so it's early to say whether it is a good or a bad move. They are going to play in Europe also, so there'll be a lot of games, and I think he'll get playing time. I'll look at it like this: he started his Wolves season, or he started his Wolves career basically 2 months ago, and he's played 3 games.
Yeah.
I doubt he played 3 games last year with Real Madrid. So
Yeah.
he's doing better than what he's
It's also
doing.
because I think Wolves are aware of his injury record and they want to play it safe because he's probably a backup. And also, if you want to go to loan in any team, Wolves is the team which you really want to be in because they will challenge for the top 4 this season in EPL, and it's a very competitive league. It's a very tough league,
Top
especially
6.
for But they will aim for the top 4. Obviously, they might end up getting in 5th or 6th position, but I'm saying their objective is to finish in the top 4.
I think Wolves is an ideal location because learning from the mistakes of Leicester City, where they were in the Champions League and didn't have proper rotation, right? Wolves is the ideal team to loan a player to that you want to develop or you want them to experience a European football because of the 6. I think all top 6 teams in the EPL right now have the squad depth to do the rotation. So Wolves being number 7 is the most ideal team because they can have the rotation, the squad depth, the intensity of EPL, and still play European football.
They also have a continuum. Like you don't see any inconsistencies in their performance. They have been quite consistent in the past 2 seasons, I'd say.
And Nuno has done a terrific job.
Yeah, and he's a very proven tactical manager. And if you are a defender and if you want to be in a defensive structure, Nuno Perez is the person you want to play under in Wolves and in EPL, of course, where you will get experience against likes of Manchester City and Liverpool. And let's be honest, because even though I prefer La Liga as a better league than EPL, but EPL does have a lot of more teams which are very competitive. And say like world's 2 or 3 of the best teams in the world right now are in EPL. Say Tottenham and Man City and Liverpool. So if you play against them twice a year, and even if Vallejo plays for like 10 minutes or 20 minutes against them, that's a big exposure for him. And I think he will be ready enough to take on Real Madrid's pressure later on.
For his injury record, also it's a good league because
That's what I'm saying.
It's
a very physical league, and and he's quite young. Like he's still a teenager. He's 19 years old, I guess.
All the top leagues across the board. If our and from the point of Real Madrid, if I was gonna loan a player, right, I would loan the player to the EPL because I know that he's going to get bunched around. He's going to have to like put up with the physicality of it. Whereas compared to Serie A, like it's a more defensively minded, slightly slower game. Not that it's bad. It's
Serie
just different.
A is now carrying on the perception of being a defensive league, but it's not anymore.
It's not anymore. Not anymore. But because
even the scorelines say the same thing because endless number of goals are being scored. Like last night, Juventus scored 4 past Napoli.
But the thing is, not across the board compared to EPL. Like EPL, even fighting against Norwich, against Sheffield, you're still going to get bunched. You're still going to get thrown into the dirt.
Yeah, and also the pitch is quite different to the other parts in Spain or in any other part of the Europe.
Virgil van Dijk, his UEFA Man of the Year.
We forgot to mention about him. So he got like 100 points more than Messi, and maybe 250 points more than Ronaldo. So it's quite telling that I made this observation that now football is eventually moving on to recognize other positions, and they realize that okay, if we have a poor defense and poor mid and good attack, we still might lose the game. But if we have a solid attack and solid mid, we may not lose the game at least. So
I'm just happy. I was just happy to see the break in record again when it comes to Player of the Year. Like, yes, Van Dijk played an integral part in their amazing EPL campaign last season, right? Only to be bunched by Man City, but he also played an integral part in them winning the Champions League.
Yeah.
So, I I wouldn't have personally. I wouldn't have shortlisted Messi and Ronaldo compared to Van Dijk. I would have probably wanted to shortlist someone else, say Salah, along with
Alisson.
that. Sorry,
Alisson.
Alisson as well. Mane, Bernardo Silva. Bernardo Silva was honestly last season he came out from sort of nowhere. Like, I mean, he was unexpectedly amazing for Man City. When they had likes of Kevin De Bruyne, David Silva.
De Bruyne has been
De Bruyne had
phenomenal
an
this
injury,
week.
yeah, but
But this season, De Bruyne is going quite good.
Silva really took advantage of the De Bruyne injury. I mean, obviously, I don't wish any player to get injured, but if somebody does get injured, this is the kind of
It's-
player you want to
it's-
take.
he took
to-
his chance and made it.
To frame it in a better words, it was like he had an opportunity and he wielded it very well.
Yeah,
So-
it was one of those players where you did not that you don't expect much from any player, especially when it comes to Man City. It's not that you don't expect any much from any City player, but Bernardo Silva just coming onto the scene all of a sudden and just proving and just bossing the midfield and helping Pep do that thing. I was just surprised.
Yeah.
it was
But
good.
in my books, when I saw the shortlist, and even before that, I had Messi winning, because
Messi didn't. Okay, they've been winning La Liga. Honestly,
it's not about La Liga alone or the team trophies. I'm talking about the individual performance alone. I agree that when you win Champions League, you are most likely to win the awards. It's probably from that team only, the Champions League winning team, which will go on to have a player on the podium for their best player of the season stuff. But if you see individually, Messi had quite a phenomenal season. Like, every stat which you read was, okay, nobody has more assists than Messi. Nobody has more assists than this. Every time whichever player was talked about, Messi topped that stat in every particular area. So, yeah, though I don't mind Van Dijk winning the player of the season. I think it's well deserved. But yeah, it is what it is.
No, I think generally speaking, first of all, I don't like the. Generally, I don't. I've always said this. I don't like the idea of a Player of the Year award for such a team sport. And the other thing is, it is how do you? I've never understood how people are able to compare for
Two
example,
different positions.
Yeah, how do you compare Van Dijk against
Messi or Ronaldo or
Like
anyone.
how many goals is equal to one tackle
Exactly.
or one goal saving tackle, whatever? I don't see that
Yeah.
logic.
That's why it's better to have position awards.
And the other
Alone.
thing is, I
the
feel
position awards was surprising for me. Sorry, but the position awards was surprising. It was good. However, the thing is,
So
in my
it was
eyes, when it comes to UEFA Player of the Year now, it should be how integral, which was Van Dijk's case. How integral is that individual player to the team's campaign?
yeah.
And Van Dijk himself, overall, out of the three that were shortlisted, he proved most integral to Liverpool's campaign throughout the season. That's why I think that is the correct way to go about thinking about it in a team sport for individual award.
I think recently, obviously there's a genuine amount of voter fatigue in terms of voting the same Cristiano Ronaldo, Messi on the top for so long. That's a side. But apart from that, I feel that generally, especially in the last 6-7 years, I feel that there's a lot of influence on how media perceives a player in terms of
That's
how,
what I was
how they
going
how
to
they
talk
get the
about.
award.
How many times did you hear about the term being dribbled past before last season? You've
Exactly.
never heard of that.
Yeah.
And
is
now
a-
it was like, okay, he has been dribbled past for like 40 games or 43 games or whatever.
So I think for a person to actually
useless statistic, if I'm being
It's a
honest.
useless statistic. Exactly.
It's a okay. Van Dijk is a great defense, but it's a stupid statistic because
If you run away from a play, you will still won't get dribbled past. So that doesn't really make any sense.
Yeah,
that doesn't
that-
prove
that-
the importance of the player's performance on the
shouldn't be
yeah.
that shouldn't be a statistic.
It isn't. It's just a mediated
It's like,
team.
it's like saying, okay, the player didn't dribble past you, but they crossed over your head.
Exactly. That
Yeah,
doesn't
so-
mean anything.
So basically, I was thinking that because there is
Even tackles don't mean anything, because if you see, Maldini used to say that if I have to make a tackle, I have already made a mistake. So if a player is making a lot of tackles, you probably
you could,
should.
you, could- you would say that probably the defense is not doing as good as they should, or
Yeah,
at
exactly.
least the team as a whole is not defending as good as they
Exactly.
should. But overall, like you said, because there's so much media, there's a lot of media input onto this. I think it is very important for a player to have a big impact. So that's why, for example, even though Messi scored 50, 60, whatever goals and whatever assists, his narrative is always that they lost 4-0, they lost a 3-0 lead against Liverpool. in the
Liverpool
UCL.
or Roma
They
or
lost the-
whatever. Yeah.
They lost the finals in the cup, and they had
Valencia,
a horrible
yep.
Copa America. So that
Yeah.
is basically that's the narrative. He could have 150 goals, but this would be his narrative
Yeah.
for all
Also,
that matters.
lately, as I said before, it's always about the team which won the UEFA Champions League, and that team will have a player which will be on the
So-
podium for the
So the reason I
position
say
awards
is
and
because
stuff.
there is this impact. So it is very clear to see that there's a
To put into
l-
perspective, we had a very terrible last season in La Liga, but we still won the Champions League, and all of the awards were by Real Madrid players. Ramos, Modric, and the attacker was Ronaldo, because he was in Real Madrid in the previous season.
So I was saying that basically because that impact makes a lot of difference. You can see that there's clearly an impact on Liverpool pre and post Van Dijk. You can see how they defend, how they organize the defense, and how good they did defensively. The same way for Modric, you could see very clearly that in the World Cup the impact that he had. It's not that they were not doing this before. Like Van Dijk, it's not that Van Dijk was not doing this. Okay, in Van Dijk's case, at least you can say he was playing in a lower tier level. But in Modric's case, he was doing this for years. It's like nothing new he did on that World Cup. The only thing is because he did it in the World Cup, he did it with a team that was not fancy to do anything. He got all that attention, and I would say he was. In Modric's case, he was a little lucky that Ronaldo left. Because of Ronaldo left, Real Madrid, I felt Real Madrid spent their entire marketing on him. Which helped him. I'm not saying it doesn't deserve
Yeah.
it, but I feel that helped create
it gave him a
narrative.
push. Like, you need to have some media attention and stuff, and Modric
I think
especially
that's-
knocking out England, which
exactly.
were already the favorites, and we are coming home and all the stuff. And when you perform against England and make such a comments that they insulted us, and now we have proven that we suffered war and stuff, and now we have shown that we are
That
very tough people and stuff. So
Entire
that
narrative came out well.
yeah, so that's where media got the pick of Modric, and I even read an article that the player who ruined the English summer twice in a season.
Modric.
Yeah, because he knocked out Liverpool in Champions League
okay.
final and then in the World Cup.
So
He knocked out England,
so basically, so what I was trying to say is over here that I think the narrative plays a big factor, and that marketability plays a big factor in actually how you win. And
Also-
you can see it in the Europa League award.
Yeah.
Hazard won it because
Eventually, see,
it's not just he did the finals. He won it because he's
He's a mediated
most-
figure.
He's the biggest, he's the biggest player.
Yeah, but Giroud played a bigger part for their
exactly.
campaign.
That's
But he's the bigger player. Like,
That's what we are
he's the most
saying.
marketable. He's the best player in the
see,
team that won.
eventually, if okay, let's put it into
Like
a different
nobody
perspective.
gives a shit what Giroud does. Unfortunately.
Let's
Him.
put it.
Giroud was
Let's.
the better player.
I
I
agree.
That's what I'm saying. It's because
I
of the
agree.
media narrative. No, like there's no media narrative that'll go against Hazard. They'll go for Giroud.
Let's put it in a different perspective. Say if we three were the journalists, okay, it's about voting. We don't look at stats. We don't look at anything. It's about voting. If you hear every day about, say, Van Dijk, and in every newspaper he's over there, in every social media account he is over there, how would you not have a bias for him when you are about to vote? And there is no reason for that. You don't have to give any justification for your vote. Only your vote matters. And when you have voted for it, that's it. That's the end. And
In some awards also there's already an inherent bias. Like
also, we don't know the journalists who get to vote. Like, how do you get the accreditation for voting into for the say
That's why
UEFA Player of the Year or
that's
stuff?
why in terms of that, the position of the year award, goalkeeper, defender, midfielder, and
Yeah,
forward. Those make sense.
those make sense exactly, because
you have a
then
stat
you
to go by it.
exactly
How-
because then you can't just go by the perceived media image you have
Messi
in the
winning
mind.
that was fine. A lot of goals.
Yeah.
Frankie de Jong winning that, influential for Ajax.
Yeah,
Yes. I was about. I just remember he transferred to Barcelona. So I was
Yeah,
like,
but
which
yeah.
game? Anyway, Van Dijk integral to Liverpool's entire campaign throughout the season. Alisson integral as well. Those two work together, right? Player of the year, how integral to the entire team.
yeah.
And Van Dijk deserved it. I don't even know why Ronaldo was in that.
Yeah,
contention.
Ronaldo was a bit of a surprise inclusion,
Great.
to be
He went
honest.
to Juventus. He created a stir, but it doesn't matter. You can put Neymar's name there, and it will just as matter as little.
Yeah,
If I'm being honest,
yeah.
a lot of other
It's also like people have some fantasy of their own player, and no matter what happens, Messi fans will never say that Messi doesn't deserve the award, or Ronaldo fans will never say that he doesn't deserve the award. So that's something which will always
This
be
is
there.
coming from me as a Manchester United supporter saying that over Ronaldo and Messi, Van Dijk deserved the award.
Yeah, Van Dijk did deserve the award.
I still feel in the top three.
We are not saying that he doesn't deserve the award. I'm just saying that the criteria of voting and stuff is quite different.
It's
That's
not
what we are
different.
saying.
It is not.
Yeah, okay.
It is not. There is
For
no.
such
There's no objective. You cannot
Yeah,
objectively
that's what I'm
say.
saying. It's
For such a okay. In terms of the discussion though, Player of the Year award, right? Disregard what's happened already, but I think that especially with the category awards right now, Player of the Year should go to a player that has proven integral to the entire team. As basic as that.
yeah, but there's like again, if a defender has
That is not. That's still not objective.
exactly
you
what
think
I'm
is
saying.
integral and what
I
you think
get
is
your
integral
point.
different.
It's quite honest. Like it's like saying
Slightly
the
more
man
open,
of the match.
but at least there's something more specific.
I'm just saying you were talking about it's like a man of the match award, but it's not because over the season an attacker in the team can have 50 goals and a goalkeeper can have like 30 clean sheets. How do you measure that together? Was
Like, what is more important there, or what is
Yeah.
more important for that team that won that season? The 30
Yeah.
goals or the 30 clean sheets?
yeah, exactly what that's
You can't. That's
you
what I'm
can't
saying.
really measure.
So-
So,
so
that's
it's-
why it's
so-
better
so-
to have position awards instead.
For example, in my perspective, if I think that goals are more important than clean sheets, I'll give the award to the attacker. If you think the clean sheets are more important than goals, you will give it to the defender, goalkeeper, whatever.
That's why in terms of being more integral to the team, you take the statistical stats of the game itself across the board. You have player ratings, so you take all the player ratings across the board.
Again,
So-
player
so
rating
it's
is
not
also not objective.
The player rating isn't objective, but at least that's a start. That's a start compared to letting the journalists just vote on the day itself, which is what's
No,
happening.
why
No, the
exactly?
because-
I have another point. If we have to provide journalists all this stuff, who isn't watching any games, who hasn't watched a single game, and he is reading off the paper that okay, these are the stats, so I should vote now.
Yeah,
He
it's not
doesn't
possible.
deserve to get a vote then.
It is not possible for a journalist to watch every game.
Also,
It's like
Exactly.
Lucas Moura getting 9.7, the highest rated stat for one of those newspaper, just because he scored the hat trick
I
against.
think what they should do now is they should allow teams to nominate their players, and they they should send in the entries. Okay, every team is allowed like 2 nominations. So whichever
the
team
most
sends the
popular.
nomination.
If that's the case, the most popular team will win because like,
No. I'm not. I'm saying that only it's a nomination. Like only those players will get evaluated. then.
Okay.
So if a team values like say a team had Ramos and Ronaldo together and they valued okay both of them were the most integral players of our team, so they will nominate those 2 players. And
I like the NBA system better. They should do a first team, second team, third team. In NBA, you have
yeah, that's probably better.
That's
All right.
yeah. So
Or like
in that
as
case,
we have in Australia for the Australian team of the year. Australian
AFL.
what's it? Yeah, for the AFL they had like all Australian. Yeah, that's
yeah,
what
so
they
I
call.
think that's
yeah.
a better idea where you will also cover more positions. Like
We have it in FIFA, the FIFA
but
World
you have
11.
you're only the FIFA World 11, and for me that has one small problem that you don't necessarily cover all positions. If you're playing a 4-3-3, you're automatically eliminating say wingers, for example.
You can also have substitutes for that.
You might as well
matter,
have
right?
say 3-5-2 as well. No.
You can.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. I think.
Squad, a 23
Okay.
squad.
Yeah, 23 man squad. That's perfect.
Maybe in terms of that, for the player of the year, you put some value against the award they've won. Maybe I don't know. Right? Say you add on top the day that they get to represent the country. Say they won the World Cup or Euro that year, and then you add some value to that. You won the Champions League. Maybe that's 10 points to your credit or something. I don't know. Right? But definitely we can agree that the positional awards are more ideal.
Yeah, that's what we are saying.
Yeah.
That's all what we are
But
saying.
Here's the thing: who created a more bigger contribution in terms of those awards as well? Among those four, for
That's
their team.
again the argument. You cannot really measure.
No. Among the four, for you take of those four, right? Who created the biggest?
Yeah, okay, let's just agree to disagree and move on. We
Okay,
have gone
okay.
too much over the limit.
This is what happens. We'll never finish this. But interestingly enough, I was looking up at Frank de Jong because I forgot which team he was playing for.
Ajax.
He played for Ajax, but he got transferred to Barca.
But
Right,
he
that's the
got
thing.
the award for playing in Ajax, so yeah.
Yeah, he got the award for playing at Ajax. No, but I was reading this. At the beginning of the season in 2015, Ajax purchased de Jong on a 4-year contract for a symbolic €1 fee.
Yeah.
And I was looking.
old
I had
news.
to reread that sentence. I was just like,
Yeah.
"Are they sure it's not 1 million euros or something?"
Yeah, and it was one.
Which included a 10% resale bonus. So,
Yeah.
his previous team, Willem too, earned a lot, I think, from that Barcelona sale. But
Yeah.
I had to reread that. €1.
Yeah.
Oh Lord, they were like 6 million
Still,
or 7.5 million.
Yeah. Anyways,
look,
it was a
look.
great podcast. Thank you so much, guys, for coming, and thank you so much for listening. I'm sorry I'm cutting you off now because we have gone over the limit. So, yeah, keep listening to Football the Europa podcast. Like and subscribe our YouTube videos, podcasts, and we are over all the platforms on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook, and on YouTube. So, we will appreciate if you like and keep sending us questions. It helps us direct the podcast towards a certain direction, and it gives us a direction, and we love to talk about the questions
you
and
for
debate about
listening.
that. Thank you so much.
Listening.
Adios.